Philadelphia area, this is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And today we have got the Realtor.com mid-year forecasts, and Bright MLS is the latest to suppress listing information. We're going to unpack all that, as well as the passing of a Philadelphia legend, CEO of Wawa, Dick Wood. Very sad, and we've got some incredible new listings coming to the market as well. So if you get some value out of this, or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and if you want to schedule a call with Sarah to get all your real estate needs handled, you can do that with the link right in the comments, whether it's selling or buying. She has got you covered. So the Realtor.com mid-year forecast came out, and I always find these interesting because everyone comes out with their forecast at the beginning of the year. Very few people actually update them and have some thoughtful dialogue around it, Sarah. And I got the chance to talk to Danielle Hale last week, the chief economist at Realtor.com. And she kind of broke down how she reached these forecasts. And it's not just her, it's her and her team. So I'm going to kind of run down what they predicted at the end of the year versus any revisions. And then we can unpack each one of these and talk about what it means for consumers, if that sounds good.
Sounds great.
All right. So the first one, this is probably the most talked about, is mortgage rate expectations. So at the beginning of the year, Danielle and her team predicted that we would see 6.3% as the average 30-year fixed rate and 6.3% for the year-end number. And that remained unchanged, even though rates today are coming in at 6.6%, actually 6.7%, according to Mortgage News Daily. So what do you think about that prediction, knowing where we are right now?
So she's predicting that at the end of the year, they'll be down to 6.3, and that the overall average for the year will also be 6.3?
Exactly correct.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would have to, because of where they are for the length of time that they've been, I feel like they'd have to, at some point, then be dipping below 6.3 a little bit if you want the whole average to be there. So it'd be great to see that happen. But I think they will be at 6.3 by the end of the year. I don't know that the overall year average will be 6.3.
Yeah, and you know, that's interesting you say that. I think this prediction, it bodes well for the rest of the year for anyone thinking about transacting right now, because rates are 0.4% higher than this today. So it's been a little rough this past week, especially with the Iran conflict continuing to go. I thought this was a done. I thought, we did the show before July 4th. I thought it was over, and
here we are.
It's not. So I mean, that's exactly what's going on, and I think because of that, that's kept rates persistently high, even though the CPI data came in below expectations with a core reading of 0 today versus the 0.2% forecasts. So, we'll see what happens here. I think they're going to end up around 6.3. I do agree with you. Last year, she was right on the money, and the average she predicted last year was 6.6%. So I think this does bode well. I don't know that we're going to get below 6, though. And until this Iran conflict's over, I don't think we're going to see any meaningful movement with rates, because oil prices are going back up now. So I think that's the other problem that we're seeing. So I tend to agree with you there. I wish she was wrong. I wish they were lower, but I don't see that happening.
Right.
So the next thing that was in the predictions were existing home sales. So originally at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to pull up our local numbers just to give some perspective. Now this is a little lagged because anything selling right now obviously is not going to be factored into this. At the beginning of the year, Realtor.com predicted 4.13 million home sales, up 1.7% compared to last year. That's been revised downward to 4.1 million even, which would be up just 1% from last year. Last year's numbers came in at 4.06 million. So, one, do you think it's right? Two, tell us what your observations are with the current market.
Trying to think. I think it could. I mean, I think nationally that probably makes a lot of sense. Even locally, I mean, it's been interesting the last couple weeks. I feel like a lot has happened for home sales, but Yeah, I can see doing a adjustment and kind of moving the needle down a little bit. Could be accurate.
I mean, unfortunately, if you look at what's happening locally, I'd love to see more home sales, right? I mean, I'm sure you would too, right? That's
Yeah.
what we're in the business of. Closed sales in the greater Philadelphia area are down 2.4% year to date compared to 2025 through the month of June. And the number of pending sales are up 0.9% through the month of June. So this was as of July 7th, so pretty fresh data.
Okay.
And I mean, I think that's pretty indicative of the Northeast. Now, what we're seeing in other places are that there are more homes selling, like Florida, Texas, those sort of markets. So it's going to be a little bit of a slog here because if rates stay higher, I mean, we just met with somebody before we came here. What was she talking about?
That they have great rates, and yeah, like it's hard to, like, the rate lock definitely still exists. Like, I feel like over the last few years it's eased a little bit, but when you've got a incredible rate, it's a big consideration. It's a big factor when you're kind of piecing everything together for whether it makes sense to move.
And that lock-in effect that you're talking about, so people feel like that they're locked in and they can't move. It's not so much like a handcuff, but it's more like gravity or a magnet where it keeps you there.
Yeah.
And it slows down the decision-making process. This particular client we just met with, we've been talking to them since January or February, which is not unusual. I shouldn't say that's unusual, but the internal debate was, do we move? Do we stay here? And that's going to ease up because I think there are things like job relocation, having more children, your family expanding, family downsizing, like that people are going to eventually move because that's what works for them. That was exactly what this person told us. For most folks, they're going to stay where they are. So I think it's going to be a slog to even get up to 4.5 million sales nationally here. And that really demonstrates to me that if you see something you like, you probably should move on it because it might be a while before you see something else. I mean, is that what you're seeing in the marketplace right now?
Yes. And just because inventory may be up in different pockets here, it has to be the right home for you. So especially if you're looking for something that is not maybe just like the cookie cutter or like what you're constantly seeing coming up, just knowing that inventory is up doesn't really do anything for you if it isn't the right house. So when the right home comes up, it's important to kind of, see if it's worth going for.
And you look at inventory, and then this is all related here. If you look at what's going on with inventory, just active listings through the month of June are up 12.4% in the greater Philadelphia area. So there's new homes coming to the market every day. And the mistake, I know we've talked about this, people kind of like quit and they don't just stop looking. They totally detach from the market entirely. And then they're like, oh, I actually would have bought that home if I would have known about it. That's the mistake that you have to be careful of as a home buyer. And that's where preparation can be helpful. But because you have people with this, like, I love the analogy of gravity or a magnet versus like a handcuff, because a handcuff, I mean, you could hypothetically break out of. Gravity is a force, right? A magnet is a force. So that's something that's going to kind of hold people there. And that is starting to ease, but it's not what people thought, where rates just went down and all of a sudden, like, everyone was going to move again. I don't think we're going to see that again, given what happened earlier, 2021, 2022. I mean, I think this is just kind of what the market's going to be like for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And it's, I mean, you think about it, it's going to be tough to really get these sales numbers up. The other big takeaway was around that it was kind of a slow start to the spring, and the market has shaken that off now. And I want to, before we get into like some of the data around that, do you think that's fair to say? Like, what are your observations around the spring starting slow, or the year starting slow, and now we're seeing the market kind of come alive a bit here in July and August?
Yeah, I mean, I think to some degree, we also had like a lot of snow and a lot of like storms and like a lot of things that were like kind of lining up with days that new homes typically hit the market. And not that would still be affecting, things now, but there were different kind of like pieces that were going on earlier that I feel like slowed things down a little bit. And even going into the spring market, I felt like it it wasn't just like, here we go, mad rush, but there's definitely been a lot of activity, and I feel like it just kind of happened maybe a little bit later in the year.
Yeah, and there are people that are going to move. We talk about the lock-in effect here, and I do agree. I think a lot of people have kind of delayed. I mean, we've even seen that there's been some homes that are kind of on the market. All of a sudden, there's like multiple offers, and they've been sitting there. That happened right over July 4th weekend to a listing that you're handling. So I am clear that there's probably like a 90-day window where we could see pending sales really tick up here, especially in Q3 and then the beginning of Q4. And if you're someone that's been frustrated with the market, I'd be looking at this. I mean, look at this inventory growth, right? I mean, we're seeing 12.4% more homes that are actively listed right now. That's substantial. Yeah. That's not some drop in the bucket sort of item. Now, you may not see a home that you like. Right. So that's I get all that, but that's all the more reason to be looking. And there's going to be some people that quit on the market because of what's going on with rates, and just because of where we are in the calendar. And so if you're one of those people out there, I'm clear there's like some opportunity, and the opportunity is demonstrated by what's going on with first-time home buyers. So last year in May and June, first-time home buyers made up about 30% of the market. Mm-hmm. In May and June this year, it was 35% and 33% respectively. So that's a 10, almost 20% increase. And those are people that have had a hard time finding homes. So that really demonstrates what could come here with the slow start being shaken off with 2026 home sales. So I think that's pretty relevant for a lot of folks. I mean, what do you predict happening? I mean, do you think that's going to continue? How long do you think it's going to continue? What are your observations?
Wait, are we talking about for the first-time buyers, or
just in general, like what happens the second half of the year?
I think there's going to be a lot of activity the second half of the year. Mm-hmm. I think if the rates can tick down to the lower sixes here, kind of gradually, that will make people, and again, because they've kind of been here. Like we haven't seen like massive jumps. So while everybody would love rates to be lower, when they're kind of predictable and kind of steady, it takes some of the anxiety out of it. Mm-hmm. So I think if we can get rates to trickle down a little bit here, and then it's going out, it's looking at homes, and then going for it and negotiating things out. I feel like if you are committed to it and you stick with it, you'll be successful. Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. I think that's pretty accurate, and there's always opportunity in the market. Like even in a tough market, I think of some clients that you're working with now where they've been through the ringer a little bit. Mm-hmm. It looks like we're almost at a finish line.
Yep.
But that's because they were persistent. Yep. And they didn't pull out of the market when a lot of people would have.
Right.
So I think that's a good lesson here. And so those are the big takeaways. I mean, she's predicting the median home price is going to be up 1.2% year over year. I don't think that's so relevant for the greater Philadelphia area. We're seeing a jump of 3.6% through June. So, I mean, that would be a little light for our market. Yep. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So I don't know that that's going to be the case, but certainly places like Florida, Sunbelt states, that's going to be a little different. The other takeaway was on builder inventory, and Realtor.com estimates the country's short about 4 million homes in terms of active homes that are actively listed. But I don't think the number's that simple, because the shortage is really concentrated in the Northeast, and you can't really build in the Northeast. Like, I mean, it's very difficult to get things approved. The shortages are a lot less acute in the West and South, where the policy environment's a lot more favorable. I don't think we're ever going to make up that shortage, especially in a state like Pennsylvania or Jersey, Delaware, or even further up into New York and Massachusetts. I mean, what do you think there?
Yeah, because I think also a lot of the new construction that does happen around this area isn't at a price point that is where we see a lot of the people kind of like struggling to get into. So, you'll see a lot of luxury, and but that's not the pocket that everybody falls into. So for new construction between 4 to 600, you just don't see a ton of that.
If you do, they're in it's in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Or
great area.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not. I mean, you're not going to see it right outside Philadelphia as a good example. And you do see it in the city, but they're like it's transitional or developing neighborhoods. It's not like in like Rittenhouse Square or Bella Vista or Queen Village. So I think that's the problem. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So affordability, I don't see that getting solved anytime soon. With it, I find that to be hard to believe that like all of a sudden these builders could snap their fingers and they come up with 4 million homes because it's not really the case. Like they don't have an inventory problem in Florida right now.
Right.
So you got to be careful with some of these observations that are there, and you know there's also this 21st century housing bill. So I don't know if it was the bipartisan 21st century Road to Housing Act became law on Saturday, and here's what the bill actually does. So we talked about this, and we got Danielle's take on this as well. It ties community development block grant funding to local housing production, rewards communities with funding bonuses when they add housing units, penalizes communities that don't see production growth, lays out federal best practice guidelines for local governments, rolls out its funding mechanism over a 3-year period. The federal government can't override local zoning law and building regulation directly. The funding incentives are designed to encourage communities to adopt their own best practices. Do you think communities are actually going to do this, is my question. They're basically like incentivizing them to loosen up their building codes.
Yeah. I mean, I my guess would be that some do, some don't.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not sure if that will really like take off or not.
I like the idea that they're penalizing communities for not adding housing units.
Right.
I think that's actually going to have more of an effect than anything else. So, but I don't expect that to anything meaningful to happen here over the next like 3-4 years.
Right.
So, you know, I don't. Is there any surprises here in these adjustments to this mid-year predictions? I mean, anything you're kind of shocked by or that blew your mind here, Sarah?
No, I mean, I feel like there were some like minor adjustments, but it's not like things swung. Their predictions haven't dramatically swung in any other way. So tweaks, sure.
I like the stability in these, and this isn't anything surprising. It gives people clarity to plan because when you look at like when you meet with a lot of clients, I think it's rarely is it, hey, come over and we're going to list the house or come over and we're going to buy the next home.
Yep.
That does happen. Don't get me wrong. It's more about like we got to figure out the timing. I got to get the house ready. What am I doing with the kids? I got to get the place cleaned out, and there's so much that goes on. This allows for people to be a little more predictable in their planning. Is my major takeaway, and I see that as a healthy thing for the market because having those wild swings in what's changing all the time, I don't think it's good for anybody when you're making these kind of decisions.
Right, I'd agree with that.
All right, so that's what's going on with the housing predictions from Realtor.com and their adjustments. I want to change gears here because Bright MLS, this kind of went under the radar. That this happened on Friday, I guess it was, maybe Thursday. So starting this summer, sellers in the Mid-Atlantic, which is where Bright serves, that's our local MLS. So that's D.C., obviously parts of Pennsylvania, Delaware, parts of Jersey, Maryland. It's a Mid-Atlantic MLS. There's about 95,000 agents across the 6 states that it serves, including Washington, D.C. Sellers will be able to keep their home's price, address, photos, days on market, and price history off Zillow and other search portals while the listing stays fully syndicated, according to a rule change by Bright. And until now, Bright's broker distribution was essentially binary. You send the listing to the consumer sites or you don't. This gives you more granular control, and there's fields you don't have to fill in. What do you think about this, Sarah? I've got a lot of opinions.
Why would you not want it on other sites?
That's a great question. So my theory on this is I did a little research because I don't know about you, and I'm probably not the best person keeping up with like local policy and stuff like that. This is the first I heard this was even on the table.
Right.
And it's like, hey, this is approved, cool. And this looks like this Compass Zillow battle that's going on right now.
Yeah.
This looks like Bright is implementing changes that are aimed at Zillow's policy that sought to restrict public marketing of real estate listings that aren't also available on the MLS. which is Zillow's listing access standards. And that's been the big debate that's been going on and on around like office exclusive, private exclusives. So they're saying, hey, we're going to put it on the portal, and we're not going to give you any information, which sounds like what Compass has been doing, where there was holding addresses and price from their website. And there's obviously that lawsuit that happened in Chicago. So my observation here is that this is being driven by policymakers inside Bright that are anti-Zillow and pro-Compass. That's just a guess. When I went to look up who's on the Bright board of directors, you go to their website and it says, see our board of directors, and you click on it and it says, this is not available. And this has not been available since 2022. That's the last announcement I could find. Which I find interesting, considering you and I pay dues to Bright, and we can't find out who the board of directors is.
Right.
I don't know if that's just happenstance or not, but I find this all a little fishy here, and I don't like that you have to. It seems to me this is being driven by policymakers inside Bright, where they're not getting public opinion on what they should actually do by the people that pay their dues.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know anything about it.
So what? Do you think this is good or bad? Like, your opinions are so fresh because I think it's very like some agents have no idea this stuff's going on.
Right.
So,
I feel like there's constantly like since all of this stuff has kind of started, I feel like low key there's like been changes going on or changes that are like being discussed, and until they actually get implemented and then kind of become part of your day-to-day or affect kind of how you do business or how you search for properties for clients, I kind of don't get too into the weeds with it.
What? And that's why you're selling houses, because you're not getting focused on all the wrong stuff, which is what 98% of real estate agents do. I mean, you think about it, they're all worried about like these hypothetical situations.
Yeah.
I know your mindset from working with you closely is, hey, like I'm trying to set an appointment and sell this house, which is the right idea. So I think that's a big credit to you. My role is a little different with our company, because obviously I got to look at like what's the big picture and what it means for our team and our brokerage and a lot of other things. And when I see this stuff happen, I mean, there's always ways to work around it. And I think these people that fight for policy, they're probably, a lot of them aren't selling real estate. You look at the people that are on these boards, they don't have a lot of volume. And we are certainly a volume real estate organization. Where I do get frustrated is, I mean, your client sees this. What's the price? What's the history?
Right.
Now you're in a good spot because you can educate those people. So I think it actually empowers buyer agents here in a lot of ways to get that information to their clients. So I think there's a positive here. I don't like the restriction of data.
Right.
Like, because I'm thinking about how many clients have we had? This has been on the market a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're hiding information from consumers. So, yeah, maybe it benefits sellers in some ways, but in other ways, I think it actually hurts the consumer. Like, what if they're buying a house?
Right.
I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right. Yeah, I don't like that, like, info would be restricted.
What I don't like is that this was another closed-door decision by people they think they know what's best for the industry instead of talking to practitioners. I mean, that's always a problem that I find. And it's wild to me you can't find who these board of directors are. You got the executive leadership. I mean, that's very visible on here. But I recorded the video on my phone when I tried to find this because I knew they were probably going to take it down.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So
oh my gosh.
I don't think this is good for consumers. And unfortunately, there's this policy battle going on right now where it's obviously, there's companies with an agenda. And there was let me see if I can find this Facebook post here. James Dwiggins, who was the CEO, of course I have to sign in, fantastic. He's the former CEO of Next Home, and now he's they've since been bought by EXP. He had a post that talked about, like, did people feel sold on this private exclusive? Were they coerced, or was it brought up? And a lot of people did. So I don't know. This isn't good for people. I don't see how hiding information is going to benefit anybody.
Right. I mean, I feel like an easy way to kind of like ethically look at some of these different things is just like, who does this benefit and how does it affect the consumer? Mm-hmm. And like, a lot of times it's kind of in your face.
Yeah, well, it is. And I think that the challenge that I see here with a lot of this stuff is that consumers, if they always say what's best for the seller. It's like Scooby Doo, right? Like you pull off the mask and it's like the old guy around the corner that didn't like what was going on. So I just don't see how there's any way you can twist it that it benefits consumers, because I just think about all the research buyers do before they even want to reach out and like look at a home. So here's the survey. So it was 1,000-watt consulting. They're a consulting company heavy in the real estate space, and they asked 1,000 homeowners who sold a home with an agent in the previous 6 months whether the agent mentioned listing privately, and if they did, how they presented it. They screened out real estate agents, investors, loan officers, and anyone involved in the residential real estate industry. And there was 2 charts, and it was, is it seller choice or steering? So the first question was, did your agent suggest, recommend, or sell this option, or was it presented as just one possible choice? 43% agents suggested, recommended, and sold the option. 50% the agent presented it as one possible choice. So obviously that's, 43% is not a small number. Did your agent mention marketing your home privately within their own office or company before placing it on the MLS or public real estate sites like Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com? Yes. That's 60%. 26% no. 14% I can't recall. So it shows that there's an opinion about this out there that's being driven for these private sales, and I think it just makes home buying worse in the U.S. No matter how you slice this here.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, I'm just surprised not a lot of people are talking about it. And it's, it's just, you get these invisible boards that make these decisions. It's really disappointing. So, I don't know. I think you just got to be very mindful here as a consumer. I mean, does this come up when you go on listing appointments? Do people really know about this?
Like about private exclusives?
Yeah, like should I sell privately or not?
Few and far, like very rarely does it get brought up to me. So, I mean, almost never.
So what does that tell you? I mean, do you think, these people that decide to do this, I feel like they're definitely getting sold on it. Like most consumers don't know about this.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think most people that I meet with want to be marketed openly and in as many ways as possible to get as many buyers seeing the property and coming in and potentially writing an offer. So, unless if you had a specific situation of why it would make sense to not do that, I think the overall answer is you want to have this pretty heavily marketed. So, I'm trying to think back of any recent listing appointment where somebody would have said they really don't want this to be out there,
Have you had anybody that said, I want less exposure? Give me less exposure, Sarah, not more?
No.
Well, that's my point. I think it's just it's kind of a farce here. So
right.
And it just keeps going. I don't think this is going to change anytime soon with the way these policymakers are out there. I don't like this at all. So we'll see how this translates, but it's going to make things harder than not. I just don't know how you can suppress data to buyers and talk about a transparent marketplace. That's just me.
Yeah.
All right. Last story here, and then we got a couple listings. So very sad news. Dick Wood Jr., the leader of Wawa, passed away over the weekend. How many times a week do you go to Wawa?
Probably at least 3.
Yeah, my kids love it. We go there a lot. This is one of those do you remember what Wawas were like 20 years ago? It was so different than it is now. He's really scaled this business. It was 34 years at the helm. And it was a regional dairy business. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
Apparently I was 10 years old when he started. So he's been doing this a while. So sad news. He grew the store to 900 locations. I actually prefer Wawa gas stations because I find it's cheaper than most. Mm-hmm. He retired as CEO in 2004. He was chairman. It's very sad news. So what's your favorite thing to do? Do you have a go-to order at Wawa, Sarah? What do you normally get?
So I feel like I normally get a sub.
Well, what kind?
Turkey.
Turkey.
Just pretty straightforward. I feel like I get a lot of coffee.
Yes.
I get. And I'll switch it up sometimes. Maddie loves their chicken noodle soup. So
oh, wow, okay.
That's a regular winning order for her. So yeah, it's great.
It is great with the kid. My son doesn't eat a lot, Leo, but like he'll eat like a whole thing of like Wawa mac and cheese.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross, but I mean that's what works
Whatever,
for him. So I'm more of an Italian hoagie kind of person. I'm surprised you called it a sub, Sarah. That's we'll have to talk about that after the show.
I
don't
know.
what's
As soon
up
as
with
I
that.
said it, I was like,
yeah, shouldn't have said that.
Shouldn't have said that.
Well, very sad news here about Dick Wood. So I thought we'd just kind of talk about that because that is definitely an iconic thing. It's one of the few places where it's acceptable to eat a hoagie on top of a trash can outside, and just people are okay with it.
Yeah.
You see it happen all the time. So, very sad news. So we got some new listings here, Sarah. Why don't we run through these? We're going to do a little bit of a shorter show here. So the first property we've got is 132 Pratt Lane in Westchester. This is in Unionville Chadsford Schools. It's $1.25 million asking price. This is a pretty incredible property. It's got a unfinished basement, so there's a lot of opportunity there. It's a newer home, and for being in Unionville, it's more of a planned community than you would normally see. The property's 5,000 square feet. It's got 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, including 1 bedroom on the first floor. Immaculate condition, big, expansive kitchen and dining room in the back, large deck. It's one of these communities where you got to be careful if you're on like the inside or the outside of the community, because if you're on the inside, it's like a fishbowl when you go in there.
Okay.
This is on the outside, very private lot. That's going to be available by appointment only. There may be an open house this weekend. That's up in the air right now. Sarah can get you in. Just click on the link, and it's a 5,000 square foot single family home at $1.25 million coming to the market in Unionville. So this is a nice one.
Awesome. We've also got coming to the market on Friday, 503 Highland Ave in Downingtown. So this is a 3-bed, 1-bath, just over 1,300 square foot twin. This does not have an open house scheduled. This would be by appointment only. But yeah, it's listed for $330,000.
Yeah, that's right in the borough too. That's super convenient, right by the train station there, which is nice. We've also got 2323 St. Peter's Road in Pottstown. This is in North Coventry, so it's an Owen J. Roberts School District. It's a 3,500 square foot single family home, 4 beds, 2.5 baths. It's got 6 acres, which is pretty incredible, and it's right by St. Peter's Village. It's got a circular driveway. It backs up to French Creek State Park, so you got some very unique features here. It's also got a pool. The driveway can fit like 10 cars. You got an oversized 2-car garage, multiple fireplaces, super, super private. And that is going to be open on the 18th, which is Sunday. Does that sound? Maybe you're right. I got to look at my calendar here. I was on vacation last week, so I'm trying to get this together here, Sarah. So the 18th is Saturday, and it's open Saturday 1 to 3 p.m. If that does not work, Sarah can get you in by appointment. Just click on the link, 2323 St. Peter's, and that home's being offered at $965,000.
Yeah, we've got another one coming to the market on Friday. In Brookhaven, 9 East Elbin Road. This is a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, single family home, just over 1,500 square feet. It is being offered at $325,000. This does not have an open house. This would be by appointment only, and showings will start on Friday.
Got another property in Chester Springs. This is another really nice home. It's 508 Emerson Circle. This is located in Windsor Ridge. It's a 5-bed, 3.5 bath, single family home that's 3,048 square feet. It's being offered at $924,900. This property is this is a nice community. There's not a lot of maintenance there. It's got a 2-car garage, big deck in the back, really nice hardwood floors. A lot of upgrades in here. These are newer homes, and you can see they put a lot of money into it. It was built in 2005, and that property, again, it's offered at $924,900. It's going to be open Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 2, and Sarah can get you in by appointment if those times do not work for you.
Yeah, and then we've got one more coming to the market also for Friday. This one's in the city in Philadelphia. It's at 918 West Rockland. This is a townhouse, 3-bed, 2.5 bath, 1,600 square feet, being offered at $200,000, and this one is by appointment only.
Doing a little bit of a shorter show this week. That's all we got for you today. Sarah, you can follow her at Ty_Time on Instagram. That's TY_TIME. You can follow me at TomToole3RD, TomToole3rd on Instagram. And we'll be back next week on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.